Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and the newest and latest new and returning player decks have been posted for the upcoming expansion cycle in Showdown in the Badlands, and I wanted to give you a brief overview of all 6 decks and which one might be the best one to pick. And if you enjoy the content on the channel, if you feel like I've earned your subscription, please hit that sub button down below. Give the video a like. It helps us out a ton. So basically, these decks are free decks you can get in Hearthstone. If you're new to the game, you're just loading in right now, or you're a returning player that's been away for 90 days. You will be able to basically be able to play with these decks, I believe, for a week or so, and then pick one you are able to keep. And you get to keep all the cards unless they're core set cards, which are free regardless. And I just thought we'd go over them, and it seems like every expansion cycle, these decks seem to get better and better each time. So first we have Odin's Aegis, basically a control warrior deck built around Odin, which came out in the most recent expansion Titans. Basically, these decks could take cards, standard cards from Titans up until Badlands. Badlands, again, not part of this, but really solid deck. Like, this is a deck you could play on ladder and hit legend with. You have Odin, your win condition, or battle cry for the rest of your game. After your hero gains armor, they gain that much attack, so you gain like 8 armor with heavy plate, you deal that 8 damage, but you get that legendary minion. You also get Trial by Fire, one of the best epic spells in the entire game right now, and you get Yogg Saron Unleashed, recently nerfed, so if you open this or you get this deck really soon, you can actually disenchant this for full value. And you also get the epics of Bridge Rift, which go with the whole Rift package that is very solid. I believe Bladestorm's an epic, but a core set card, so again, if it leaves the core set, I believe you lose this card. But this is a really good deck. This is one of the best decks, at least in the current meta. We have no idea how Badlands will turn out, but overall, really solid. Ignis, I believe, is a free legendary on the rewards track, so you won't necessarily get much value out of it, but another incredibly good card of getting that possibly 10 mana Wind Fury custom weapon that you could couple up with your armor gain after Odin and just destroy your opponent. So you really can't go wrong with this deck. It's much more of a slower style of control deck with late game validity in killing your Odin. But if you're looking for like a fast and aggressive deck or a big combo deck, this is definitely not for you, but if you like the warrior gameplay, you'll be pretty happy. Next, we have the Hunter deck, Forged Fiends, and this is a very solid deck in the meta right now, as I'm recording this at least, as well, built all around. You have the new Titan Sargeras. He's this 9 mana demon that has basically open up a portal that summons infinite 3/2 imps, and he can clear the board. He can give those imps taunt. He can summon 6/6s out of this portal. Really incredibly strong card. You get Thaddeus, this big legendary that lets you cheat a bunch of mana, and you get Symphony of Sins, an amazing legendary spell that has like AoE options to remove the board, card draw, you can mill your opponent's cards, tons of great options off of that. These are all amazing cards. You also get a copy of Shallow Grave, which is an epic card. Forge of Wills, although rare, is just an incredibly strong location. And yeah, it's only missing, I believe, 1 legendary that would normally be run. It's a 7 mana 6/6, but overall it's an undead that you don't even absolutely have to have in the deck. And again, more of a control style deck, but with real big scams, mainly coming with Amorphous Slime, another epic you get with the deck, where this discards a random undead from your hand, and that could be something like Flesh Behemoth or Thaddeus, and then can resummon it, and you can proc that with like a Shallow Grave and do really gross stuff, and then bring them back with Infantry Reanimator. So it's got a scan package, it's got some control elements with AoE, and it's a very effective deck. And Sargeras is not going anywhere. This card is incredible, and it is standard legal next year too, so you can get even more value out of it if you enjoy this Warlock gameplay. Really, really good deck. Next, we have some decks that I don't think are quite as strong. We have Call of Thunder. This is basically like an OTK deck, for Shaman. Not a very good one in the current meta. It got nerfed a while ago with Bioluminescence going from 3 to 4. Also, Yogg is in here, which doesn't really make sense in the deck anymore, as you got to cheat it out by scamming a bunch of spells before. Now it's always 9 mana, so you get Yogg, but it doesn't really go with this deck, and Yogg has been like kind of hit and miss in the meta since its nerf. And you get Golgadeth, one of the best Shaman cards, period. This is an incredibly strong card, but your epic spots are kind of being wasted with Bioluminescence, honestly. Flash of Lightning goes into a very narrow style of deck. If you really like these OTK style of decks, basically where you spawn a bunch of minions and give them spell damage, Bioluminescence, and then kill your opponent with like 0 mana Crash of Thunder, Lightning Bolt. Outside of that, it's probably one you're going to want to pass on. The value on the cards isn't great, and even if you want to play Shaman, there's not a lot of like multi-utilization to be used here. So Call of Thunder, unless you really like this style of deck, I would likely pass on it. Divine Resurgence is a pure Paladin deck with a resummoning flavor to it. That was the Titan's flavor for Paladin. It didn't work. It didn't see meta play. It was not really, you didn't see a lot of these cards. Like, you get the Legendary of Tyr, which has not really been a meta card, but you get some really good cards in here that have seen play, like the Countess, like Amethyst, both legendary minions, both incredible. You get a copy of Judge Unworthy, which I don't see a ton of in the current meta, and that's basically the main value you get out of this deck. Definitely on the weaker side of a pure Paladin deck. If you want to play pure Paladin, you're probably not going to want to play this build. The main cards you'll be able to use from this are like Light Ray, the Countess, Amethyst for sure, and then the rest are just commons and rares. I don't know if I would pick this one. Again, it'll be lower on my recommendations, but if you really like playing Paladin, I do think Tyr is a card that could see play at some point, resurrecting a 2, 3, and 4 cost Paladin or attack minion. Paladin minion can be really good, but currently there just isn't anything that we've seen it being used for. So again, I would probably pass on the Shaman deck. Next, if you're going for an aggressive deck, this is a really good one. Titanic Traps, a basically Arcane Hunter / Secret Hunter deck, which is really good. This sees basically play almost as is currently on the ladder, where you get the Epic of Starstorm Bow. It was nerfed recently, still really solid. Agrimar, the Hunter Titan, which gives you a really good weapon. It can draw cards, summon taunts, basically just get extra attack and immune. Super good. It goes into like every Hunter deck. It's amazing. Get Haldur and Brightwing, another legendary that goes incredibly well with the arcade package. Also a card that got nerfed. That's how good these cards are. They've been nerfed and they're still really solid. And you get a bunch of damage, reach, secrets, and this deck just works really well. If you're looking for fast games, you're looking for a more aggressive strategy, and you like that style of Hunter where you're summoning a bunch of Lynxes off your Eversong portal with a bunch of spell damage, this is a deck for you, and it can definitely climb, especially at the lower ranks, will punish people a lot harder, and is certainly a really good pick. And you're getting the key like cards that are epics and legendaries are all viable. They're all good, and I just feel like I don't think there's as much value with this deck as some of the others, but in terms of just raw efficiency and just being really good at doing what it does, Hunter is absolutely a solid pick and a lot easier to play than one of these control decks. Maybe you're a newer player, Titanic Traps would be a very good deck to try and just learn the basics of the game. And then lastly, we have the Plague Bringer for Death Knight, a triple unholy Plague Death Knight deck, and you get some really good cards. You get Shane Guardian, which is a good epic in the Plague package, the Primus, the Titan for Death Knight, which basically goes into any Death Knight deck. Lord Marrowgar, I believe, is a core set card, so not a big acquisition there, but hell yeah, brother, hell yeah, the 4 mana 4/4 legendary shuffles plagues in your opponent's deck. This could be a really relevant card even in the next meta of the Badlands, because this can help disrupt those Highlander decks. You shuffle a bunch of plagues. If you're facing a deck that can't run duplicates, you put duplicates into their deck, shutting off the strategies. Grave Strength you also get as an epic, but again, core set, so not really too much value. But Distress Cavaldier is another epic you get in there that goes with the Plague package. This deck is very much, you want to play Plague Death Knight, which is a very popular, although not super powerful archetype. It is one that players really enjoy playing and is absolutely, I think, a good starter deck if you're looking for that style of strategy. It's more of like a mid-range deck. It's got a lot of big stuff to play. It's got some early game to play. It's got a little bit of everything. And personally, I just love the Death Knight class. It's the newest class in Hearthstone, and it's really fun to play. And you can use some of these cards in other decks like Marrowguard and other triple Unholy, the Primus. There's even some Plague decks that run like double Undead and Blood or double Undead and Frost, and you can use all of these Plague cards in that combination. So those are the decks I would definitely recommend. The highest would be Warrior, Warlock, Hunter, and Death Knight. Shaman and Paladin are the ones that stand out that aren't that great. I will link the forum post with the deck codes and more deck descriptions in the description below. Good luck with your deck, and if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.